All right, so just like before, there were three variations. When we had I equals PRT, we could solve for I, we could solve for P, we could solve for R, or we could solve for T. Now we have the exact same thing. We have S equals P, 1 plus rate times time. So we need to solve for P, R, and T. So when we're doing this, remember the original formula, S equals P 1, which is just a number, there's no variable associated with it, rate multiplied by the time in years. Okay, so that's our original formula. When we change it around, we get some interesting variations. If we're solving for P, we just move this over, so we get S divided by 1 plus RT. Similar to when we were solving for base in our last unit. We had the base equals the new number 1 plus or minus R. P equals S 1 plus RT. However, when you're looking for the rate, kind of like last time when you looked at change over the original amount, this is actually spelled out. So you take the full amount minus the principal divided by the principal multiplied by the time. And to get the time, you take the full amount minus the principal divided by the principal times the rate. Now, S minus P is a very interesting situation because the full amount minus the principal gives us the interest that was earned. So we're going to actually be using some of these concoctions here in the next problem. So let's look at this. What principal, so we're looking for P, will grow to 780? So when we say grow to, that means that this right here is our maturity amount in 5 months. So 5 months is our time, but we're going to write it as 5 over 12 at a simple interest rate of 12% annual. So we're looking for P. The formula that we know for P is P equals our S, 780, divided by 1 plus our rate, 12%, multiplied by our time, which is 5 over 12. So let's put that in the calculator just as we see it. 780, go to the denominator, 1 plus 12% times another fraction, 5 over 12. So we see why having the calculator is very useful, because just as we write it on here is as it looks on the paper. And when we hit equals, we get this really funky principal. We have to hit SD to find that the principal is 742 dirhams and 86 fils, because the 7 makes the 5 round up. Okay, let's look at the next one. A sum of 14,000 was borrowed. Was borrowed means that this is my principal. Okay, for 8 months. So our time is 8 over 12. At the end of that time, 14,500 is repaid. So this is our summative amount, our maturity value. What is the simple rate of interest charged? So we're now asking, what is my rate? Okay, well, if we look at the formula, we see that rate is the maturity amount, 14,500, minus the amount we borrowed, or the principal, 14,000, all divided by the principal, 14,000, multiplied by the time, which is 8 over 12. So we're going to put that into the calculator. Now remember, rate is always as a percentage, so you will need to multiply by 100 because the answer you'll get is a decimal or a fraction. So we're going to do the fraction. 14,500 minus 14,000 divided by 14,000 times another fraction, 8 over 12. And so we get that our rate is 3/56. We have to multiply that by 100 and hit SD to get a simple interest rate of 5.357%. Now, if I only want to know to 2 decimal places, this 7 would make the 5 round up, or in other words, the answer would be 5.36% simple interest. Okay, let's look at the next one. How many days? Ooh, this is a hard one. So it's asking about time, but once again, we have to do something once we get the time to make it from years to days. How many days does it take a principal, well, that was easy, they told us, of 50,000, so that's my P, 50,000 in principal, to grow to 52,000. This grow to means that this right here is my S, or my maturity value, at an annual simple interest rate of 7%. Now the formula for T looks just like the formula for R. The only difference is instead of T being here, that's R. So T equals 52,000 minus 50,000, all divided by 50,000 multiplied by my rate of 7%. Now remember, the answer that you get when you put this in your calculator will be in years, so we still have to do some more work. But let's set it up. 52,000 minus 50,000 multiplied by 50,000 times 7% key gives me a time of 4/7 of a year. But just like when we were converting between days and years and having to divide, now we're going to have to multiply by 365 days a year. So times 365, hit the SD button, and we get 208.57 days. We're going to round this to the nearest day. So we actually are going to do 209 days. So this is how you find principal, rate, and time.